So I'm Professor Julian Sampson from Medical Genetics here at Cardiff University School of Medicine, and I'm involved both in the research and in the delivery of services through the NHS for patients with tuberous sclerosis. We're very fortunate in Cardiff University to really have a research pipeline that involves work right from the genetic causes of tuberous sclerosis through work in cell models and models of the disease to try and better understand the disease processes and develop new treatments, through to clinical trials. So that's trials of new treatments in patients affected by tuberous sclerosis. When we're undertaking basic research into tuberous sclerosis, we always have in our minds that we want that research and its findings to translate into real benefits for people with tuberous sclerosis in the wider community. And so we're very keen that our research isn't isolated from the TS patients and the TS community. There are a number of steps to get from the bench, if you like, to the living room, and these involve working with molecules, with cells, with models of the disease, and ultimately with patients and families affected by the disease. And so it's very important for us that we have good links, good understanding, good communication between the researchers and patients and families. And it's here really that I think the Tuberous Sclerosis Association in the UK has done an absolutely fantastic job of helping to put the research community and the patient and family communities together.
So my name's Dr. Andrew T. I'm a trained biochemist. I work at Cardiff University and I am the principal investigator of a lab team dedicated to work on Tuberous Sclerosis Complex. We have a very good team of researchers who are finding out new aspects of the disease which are leading to new drug targets, and we have lots of other clinically approved drugs within the pipeline which we're trying to push through, trying to understand how they work, why Tuberous Sclerosis Complex disease cells are responding in the way that they do, so that in future TS patients will have a larger arsenal of medication. Dr. Kaylee Dodd, who was a PhD student within my lab, she's now a fellow funded fully by the Tuberous Sclerosis Association. Another postdoctoral fellow of mine, Dr. Elaine Dunlop, she initially worked on a process of self-renewal within the cell, a process called autophagy. And we quickly uncovered a series of drug combinations which could selectively target tuberous sclerosis diseased cells. Very important to train new talent. So we have a PhD student called, he's Mr. Henry McCann, and he's working on screening a whole series of clinically approved drugs.
So the Tuberous Sclerosis Association really has been the most important funder of tuberous sclerosis here in the UK and I think in Europe as a whole, and has been involved right from the outset with studies that initially aimed to and succeeded in identifying the genes TSC1 and TSC2 that cause tuberous sclerosis, through to the funding of preclinical work, that is looking for the mechanisms of disease in models like cell models, and then funding experimental work for treatments with everolimus and sirolimus in clinical trials in patients with tuberous sclerosis.
So it's a very long road. Without the support from Tuberous Sclerosis Association, it would take a long time to travel that. But with the support we're getting, then we're really surging ahead here.
If I've got one message for the TSC community, is that the best, most effective progress and the quickest progress will be made by the TS researchers and doctors working together with patients and their organisations, with the pharmaceutical industry and with policymakers in government. All these elements need to work synergistically if we're to progress things quickly. I think we've made a tremendous amount of progress over the last 25 years, going from having very little understanding of tuberous sclerosis to now really understanding its genetic basis and having some targeted treatments that really do work. But there's still much more to do, much more to find out, and in particular I'm very interested to see if we can seize the opportunity to prevent some of the manifestations of tuberous sclerosis by intervening with these drug treatments earlier. At the moment we only treat people with tuberous sclerosis once the problems become established and quite significant, but I think increasingly we're finding evidence that early intervention is going to actually make things much better by preventing these problems from arising in the first place.